This video is about the engine bay wiring mess. Let's start from the beginning. Well, over here, see all this? Oh, I'll get better over here. Look at all of these wires, like they could all be so much more tidy. Look at this, just all of this exposed, it's like that could have been taped down and corded up nicely. And then look at this, like, look at all of this wires, which these are actually for the fan controller. I've just tidied that up, and I've also powered ahead with out ears, and I've sorted out around the ECU so that no major wires are exposed. Mainly because, you know, things get broken in this car, it's going to be a big problem. Do you like my towel shoved in there? Well, anyways, see wires everywhere. This wire I actually installed, but see, I cable tied it to an existing thing here, and then ran it into, as you will see down in there, into a grommet, which is the correct way to do it. I don't like seeing people that put wires in the doors and the fenders of the car. You should never do that. I mean, this doesn't have it, but I'm just saying, if you've got wires that hang over your doors and slam in the doors, then, yeah, I don't know what to say about that, apart from good luck. The way I want to do things is a little bit different. TM came to me as a 90% finished project, and I took the view that this sort of, like, look, let's just put it all back in its little hole, okay? Look at it. Look at it. Messy, ugly, everywhere. Spaghetti mess. Look, there's wires, fuses, like, what does all of this even go to? So in this video, we're going to trace it. We're going to find out what it's for. And we're going to tidy it all up. And if it's not required for the car, we're going to cut it and take it off. Bearing in mind, I'm not going to be cutting any wires lightly on this car. Only what I think it doesn't need after a very thorough investigation. Also, I want to attempt to get the fan controller going. Here's the fan controller unit, which it's got 4 buttons on it. It's called Billion make. They're an off-brand for TM-SQAURE. It's basically TM-SQAURE. So, for the car to have this in it as the X demo, to me, it's gold. You see, the previous owner of this car had a reputation of removing stuff and selling it. He never sold any fan controllers. Least of all, he didn't remove the original one from the car, even when it came back to him not working after his mechanic fitted the turbo kit. Well, interestingly enough, you know, he left it in it, and to me, I don't want to get another fan controller. I want this one to work. Dreams are free at this stage, but I would like this one to work. The previous owner had also told me that this button here, this is the magic button. Click it down and you have fan. Click it up, fan turns off. Pretty much it's the magic button to turn the fan on and off. Can we get it to work? Well, progression in this video we'll soon find out. But wait, there's more. Over here by the turbo, check out this. If we can get this to focus, probably won't, but we'll try. This is the sensor for the oil temperature. Yep, oil temperature, okay? It runs up here. And you'll see right here, that's the connector. Look at how close it is to the turbo. Look, it actually rests on the turbo shell over there. It's, that cannot be happening. Like, I refuse to drive the car now knowing that it's like that. That needs to be sorted out. We can't have wires everywhere like that. You know, and there's also a lot of wires all down in here, which need to just be generally tidied up. And there's also a lot of other wires here, as I've already shown you. I mean, let's narrow it down a little bit, okay? This one has the same sort of material wrapped around it as the fan controller does. You see, and there's no other wires that look like half melted installation tape. So I'm going to take, and see, look, there's another two there. This one runs down there somewhere. What does this run to? Oh no. Wait, there's two of them. Okay. So this one has a fuse, which I'd already replaced this fuse because I thought I was onto this once before, but we left this one with it on. But where's the fuse now? Like, where's the rest of it? Well, I tell you what, it's broken off probably. But that's alright, I've got that covered because there is a new one here somewhere. So they are something to do with the fan controller, so let's just put them up there. There's also two wires here, which also have the same, you know, if we trace it back right, it goes into the harness, not harness, into the bundle of wires for the fan controller. So this has to be something to do with the fan controller, has to be. Same with these two. For argument's sake, right, I think we just need to hook them up using a voltmeter first, test them, see what they're for. It's obvious that these are for power though. I mean, red's power, everyone knows that. Even in Japan, I'm sure red is power. Like, you know, a 2-year-old would know what red's for. Red's a dangerous colour. The black wire, which is, see here, this one has to be something to do with an earth. And also this one here on the voltmeter gives a reading of 0 as well. But I'm not too worried about that one at the moment. So I've made up a test wire here, you see, and it's got an end on it. And that would go on here or directly on the battery. So we're going to test that out at some stage in this video. And we're also going to tidy these up. Put proper connectors on the ends of this, because I've just like whipped them up literally. Only because I'm in the slow process of trying to work it all out. But say these 3 wires are the ones that get the fan controller going. I'm still very skeptical because I just don't think it's going to work. But there's no harm in trying. In fact, check that out. It's come undone. Look, my crimps aren't even holding. But lucky for me, I've just brought a new crimp tool. That I whipped up a couple of months ago, so I'll let that one go. For now, I mean, you know, there's a lot of wiring that I've started to tidy up. I got heaps of this tubing, installation tape, heat shrink, like everything we need to do this. This is gonna be something to do with the air horn, because see, the yellow wire goes into here as power, but it must connect into something. But look at this. There's a cable here, not connected to anything. We need to find out if that's live or not. Probably need to undo this whole thing and just see what's in it. Like, there's obviously another wire in it. Like, I hope that that's not all for, like, nothing. Like, that's just an excessive amount of wire to carry for no reason. Like, that would be like 50 grams lighter the car would be without that. And then, yeah, a lot of wires, just dumped everywhere. Like, I can tell that this red one here, if we move all this out of the way, there's a fuse on this. Quite a heavy duty one. And see, it's got the red wire, and then the red wire comes down here, and it goes into this, whatever that is. Made in Japan, something 30 amp. And then there's a yellow wire that comes off it and goes into here, and then runs directly into this. But what's it for? I don't know. So that's what we've got to do. We've got to work out what it's all for. Is there anything else that I've missed before we really tear into it? I mean, this is going to be for the fog lights, like, I would assume so, because that would go down there, and then, if I'm right, there'll be one on, yes, this side. And then, see, they're just hanging, like, they need to be tied up out of the way, or, like, something has to be done, okay? They can't be like that. I don't like that. Fuses are off. There's quite a lot of parts over there. I'm in no hurry to put the car back together, by the way. In no hurry. The expander tank has to, unfortunately, just sit there because there's nowhere else to put it. I don't want to disconnect it and risk getting air into the system and then overheating the car. Let's not go there. There's the sensors that are close to the turbo, which I've already shown you. And there's just so much more. But I'm going to hyperlapse it, and we're going to come back when I've made some progress. I got a blank fuse accessory, which actually is very close to that one. So we're going to open this thing up. And I'm going to literally just quickly get it on before something goes wrong. And then I'm going to actually cut it. Where's the middle? About there, you reckon? I reckon. And then it becomes a fuse like this. And then we're going to just cut the end off it nicely like this. Open it all up, tie it all up nicely, and then we'll do the same on the other side. We'll cut that, we'll do the same thing and just cut a bit off like that. We'll tie it round like so. Hey, let me remind you, I am not a wiring expert. I had never done it prior to this. Take an electrical connector kit. And I reckon we'll just cable join it. I'm going to stick this in here. I'm actually going to just cut a little bit off it, just so that it's not so long. I'm going to put it in. And then I'm going to crimp this mother down. As tight as it will go. Release. Did it work? Oh, that's a good one. It's not coming off. Quite proud of that. Rubbish on the floor. We'll do the same thing with this one. Now, how does fuses work? Will I put it that way? I suppose so. I keep it tidy. Keep it the same. I'm going to go off camera and get this fuse on and then come back to you when it's on. Well, it's actually now the next day, and coming back to these, this is what I actually did with it. Fuses, put it in the cording, this tubing, whatever it's called, cable tied it, and then where there's you know, bigger wires in there, I had to, and cable ties to see, hold it together and split it open, but that's alright. They'll go on the battery, and those are what I did. Connectors, which aren't falling off, and then some heat shrink around it, just to make it look tidy, in the colour that you're supposed to connect it to the battery, so that, you know, any mechanic or whatever, whoever in the future, myself, anyone, won't get it wrong. Remember what I said, red wire, you know, makes sense. So that'll go to the battery. But I've also powered ahead a little bit. You'll notice that the blow-off valve is missing. It's because I've had to dismantle a bit more to get access. A couple of sensors undone. I found this one, and See, I unwrapped it from around there, so I'll work out how to put that nicely. This wire here, well this one here I should say, is the one that ran down here and bypassed the turbo. Remember I said I didn't like that, the wires being so close to the turbo? Well, these wires actually weren't for the turbo. It turns out that they're actually for sensors. So I undid them, and this is both of them here. This one, remember, it ran down here and was touching the shell of the turbo, see? And now there's no wires there. And then this one here was kind of coming up, hitting the downpipe like that. And then it was a fire hazard. So we've undid them, and I've been trying to work out a better way to do it, okay? So underneath it, when I can get down here we go. Here's the sensor. This one is for the, wait a minute. Here we go. Now that I'm more comfortable, that's the sensor there for the oil pressure, a genuine Defendi. And then it comes down and just hangs down here like that. So my plan was to swivel around again, and we're going to actually run them. In fact, this is a lot harder than I thought on the ground. I want to basically run them so that they're tidy, put them into this, run them to here, and then up safe to where the battery is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these white, because see they can go into this same one. In fact it actually comes out of there. I want to push it all back in, and then I'm going to move this out of the way. Wait up. Now it looks different again because I took that cover off, because I just don't want that TM-SQAURE carbon cover to get cracked. It actually looks really cool. I'll show you. Here it is, and it's real carbon, you know, like look at it. It's not a sticker or anything. Could be a laminate, but even so it looks good. TM-SQAURE. That sticker will probably remove it. It's in pretty good condition. There are a few scratches on it, but nothing too major. I also moved this over because it was facing, you know, the other way, but need the access, you see. So I'm going to put this in, like I said, into here, and then I'm going to run them down there and then under the car, and then I'm just going to do it, and I'll come back again once I've done it. Here is where I made it up to, okay? I did power ahead again, and it's just, you see, I can't have you watching a boring old wiring video, so I've just kind of told you what I'm doing, powered ahead and done it. So we'll start down here. See, all corded up nicely now. That was quite long, so I just tied it into that, tacked it to keep it all together. That one is just literally a spare wire, so we might put a second air horn maybe on this side somehow, maybe. The wire that I did, which I made up for the fan controller for the earth, to hopefully it works, but that's how I did it. And then I corded it all up into here, and see all of this that I've done? Heaps of it. There's like hardly any exposed wires anywhere. See, this was quite long, so the fuses will just hang literally close to here, so that in the event that they need to be changed, it's easy access. And then behind here, see, it's literally all corded up nicely together. Everything's all safe and out of the way and not running on pipes there. And we've used only going in through grommets. And then, yeah, see, it's all just the whole lot, all nice and tidy everywhere you look. This is what it would look like on the battery. And then new fuses. And then see, I made those up and then heat shrinked around the connectors to make it look all tidy and nice. And see, that runs all nicely in behind there. I've just got to add the labels and then that's it really. The light will then sit in there. But you can see that there's nothing untidy, nothing messy, everything's easy to get to now. Because remember, this one will pull over, and this one, well, actually should have really have. And we'll try and fit that under it somehow. I'll worry about that after. And then we'll put together what needs to be on the car from over there for us to put it back together and get it started and see what happens. The wires that were touching the turbo, as you'll remember, these are just hoses that come, well, one comes out of the throttle body and the other one goes into the bottom of it, and then they just literally run down. They're tubed, they're not touching the turbo, so that's good. See, no wires hang. In fact, there's no wire here at all for the sensors that were down under here. As you'll remember, they were, in fact it's better to look here, there's the oil temperature and oil pressure. I've just run them around this, tied them to this, and then I've run it down where the radiator is, which I think's the safest bet. Plugs are here for both of them. And then regarding what I said earlier, I said that would run it down around the gearbox, but it doesn't actually go around the gearbox. It completely bypasses it and only goes on the engine mount, and then it goes into there all nicely. So that's kind of a result for me. I'm quite happy with that. I've noticed that there are nice red coil packs going on. No, those are the coil packs, those are the leads, so they're quite nice. And yeah, no more ugly wires hanging everywhere. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed a real big difference, but I do. All of this, I took it all apart, see, and I've tied it all up so nothing hangs, nothing's loose or stretched. I did end up pulling that out. That's just unfortunate, really. I'll re-silicone in there. Not too bothered about it. Because TM, after all, is a garage queen. I mean, what else would she do? And then, I don't know what the next steps are. I'm trying to think, because I'm coming backwards and forwards from it, so I don't know. I think I'm going to slowly start reassembling it, actually, and see where we're at, if everything's nice and tidy here. It's all, like, together. Nothing's left a horrible mess. And then, you know, it's like sub, air horn, potential fan controller, and I was real proud that I did the brand new fuses. It's the correct way to go. These wires were broken and not even connected, dumped down in here. These two wires are the other two wires. I tested that one and it's literally a spare wire, but this black one is an earth, and that was never connected. And then down in here, we've got half of the turbo disconnected. Oh, and then the water temperature sensor one actually runs down there. It won't run across the top anymore. And it's nice and easy access to get to it again. Say something happened to it. You know, just all the wires. And then right here on the fan as well. We've just had to keep it all nice and clean. I'm now thinking what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to just start putting it back together. We'll hyperlapse it to make it quicker, and then we can just start testing it out, making sure all the electrics work. I'm only putting together what I think needs to go back on it to make it run, and then we'll be in the cabin and we'll have a look at what it's all doing and whether that fan controller works. I really want to know if that fan controller works. I think this is it. Either it's going to work or it's not. Before I do the hyperlapse, I thought I'd better quickly show you the TM-SQAURE engine computer by TM-SQAURE. And then it's got the TM-SQAURE sticker, Sport ECU. And on the angle you can see that there's a serial and a version, which I thought that this was pretty cool. Red lined out to 2,000 RPMs, I think, 8.2. So it goes a little bit over 8,000. I would never redline it, like, screw that. I'm going to blow it up. But what I am going to do now is put the car back together enough so that we can start testing things out. I was actually thinking, rather than put the battery in it, let's just hook the jump pack up to it and just see what it does before we go and get too carried away with installing the battery, because then it's, you know, quicker access to shut it down should something go wrong. Main switch there. And make sure that that's not going to touch any metal. Clamp it. Right up there. We've got power. And I'm going to grab the key. And now, it's the big moment of truth. Yes, we've got power. In fact, let's do this sitting out of the car for safety. Oh. No. Okay, something's wrong. Well, it turns out that one of the fuses blew for the fan controller as soon as I plugged it in. So I think we're going to have to head down the auto parts shop and grab a couple of spares and then come back and try it again. One auto parts shop store later, we have at least 10 of them here of different amperages. The one that I removed from here was a 10 amp, so I'm thinking that we'll bump it up to a 15 amp. It's only an extra 5 amp, it shouldn't harm anything, and at least it's fused. I mean, it won't catch fire, so, you know, I'll take it up to 15 amps and we'll see if we can get it to hold while we fire it up. We'll take our fuse and we'll pop it in the housing, and then we will hopefully get this in without dropping it. It doesn't fit. Should fit. Okay. So we've now got another fuse. The other fuse is in there and all good. So let's try this again. We'll zoom it out and I'll hit power to the jump pack and check them. Both fuses are okay at the moment, so I'm going to zoom you in on it, and then if they blow, you should be able to see it, because that is pretty close. I'll grab the key and I'll put some power to it and see what happens. Holded, and the fan is actually going. I can't believe it. The fan is actually working without the car fuses have holded. But I'm gonna do it now. Okay, so it seems like it's all working, to be honest. Let's go into the inside of the car and jump in. What's working and what isn't working? What is working and what isn't working? All the gauges work. We've got oil pressure. We've got temperatures. We haven't got fan control, throttle controller. Okay. No lights on the dash. Now, this is where it gets interesting, okay? I'm gonna turn the fan on. Now, the previous owner told me when I brought the car that this unit here didn't work, but it was easy to hook up. The mechanic that fitted the turbo kit just forgot. And this button here was the magic button. You flick it and it makes the fan turn on and off for the car. So what I've worked out is that if you flick the switch up, wait. So fan controller, let's put it on high. According to this, we have fan. And we do have fan. And if we flick the switch, we don't have fan. But then if I flick it again from there seems to be a drop in power when I flick that switch, but if we turn on the aircon with it off, does the fan turn on? Okay, so the fan still turns on with the air conditioning, so it's still working with the other functions as well. So what I'm imagining is happening, oh, and that aircon is ice cold. Yep, did a good job fixing that. We'll let it run for a minute. It is very low on gas, but we've got some petrol here to put in it. Oh yeah, that aircon is, yeah. Yeah, no, that aircon's working good. Fan's still working. Yes. And of course, right here, there seems to have been no sparks, no bad arcs. All the wiring is still intact, nothing's burning, and everything is working. Except I didn't check the sub, but that wouldn't work anyways because I removed the fuse, so that needs a fuse. But that's good. I'm going to disconnect this booster pack, and I think that's a wrap. Alright everyone, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope you've enjoyed the wiring in the engine bay and the fan controller fixing. I know I did enjoy it. I actually still can't believe that it works. Another thing that I fixed with no experience, so If you liked it as well, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, follow me on Instagram, link will be down here and in the description box. Follow me there, I post far more there than I do on YouTube, just an FYI. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're not currently. Every single subscriber boosts my confidence and makes me want to make more videos. Thank you for watching.